Guys, welcome back to my channel, Daniel Security Academy. As with the previous session, I also want to take this session today in a more freestyle way. So yeah, I hope you like it more in a freestyle way, more like in an actual lecture in a classroom than just reading out pre-written stuff. So we are going to talk about steganography, and I already apologize now for the pronunciation, so I hope this works for you guys. What we're going to cover today is we're gonna have a small recap of the difference between cryptography and steganography in terms of what is their goal and how are they achieving it. And on this way, I also explain a little bit what steganography is all about. Then we will have 2 slides regarding some basics, like different types of steganography and what it's all about. Then we will dive into one of pretty much of every of the 3 categories of steganography, which is first of all physical techniques, then technical techniques, and digital techniques. Do some examples, some historic stuff, how they work, what's their goal, and finally have a short summary of steganography in general. So this is a recap slide from the cryptography session. So there we started with, okay, what is cryptography about? Cryptography is about that the meaning of information is hidden. So you have, as an outsider or as an adversary, you see parts of the message, or you just see gibberish, but you know there is a message. And for steganography, it is different, because here you try to hide the existence of an information at all. So you don't want anyone to see or realize that there is actually a secret information hidden somewhere. But both worlds, like cryptography and steganography, both have the same overall goal. It is about the protection of information, and both tackle it in a different way. Steganography has, I call it 3 different techniques, which describes different approaches on how to hide information. One is like physical techniques, like you take a wax tablet or you use secret ink, and the other one is a technical technique, which is also kind of physical, but you need technical equipment to actually do it and also to read it. So it's like a more technical driven technique. And then you also have the digital techniques, digital or linguistic. You will find probably both words for this one. This is pretty much about media, so hiding information into media or in media itself, and also in texts in general. So as I said, steganography is about hiding the existence of a message inside or on any type of media or text. For example, by using invisible ink to write something on the paper, or by embedding some bits into a picture file. And the message could be pretty much hidden in almost anything you can think of. Nowadays, it's most often within digital assets, such as pictures or soundtracks. And steganography was even used by the people 440 before Christ, and has 2 documented cases in Greece. And I would go back to the example from Greece in a bit when we get to this point. But first I want to show you an example of steganography inside pictures. So on the bottom you will see two pictures. On the left version it is not altered at all, so it's the original version. But on the right hand side, on the right version, it is altered. So this is the original one, and this one is the altered version. So take your time, go closer with your nose to your screen, and try very hard to find the difference between left and right. Do you see the difference? I don't think so. I don't think you can see the difference because it's so small. But on the right hand side, on the right picture, it contains the first 10 chapters of Nabokov's novel Lolita, which was written in 1955. So you can really try to find the differences, but yeah, you will need a computer to find the differences. Okay, let's get into the physical techniques as first example. Here we have, for example, the wax tablet, which is being used, or was used actually in history quite a lot. So how it works is that a message was written on the wood, which is underneath the wax surface, and this has been done 440, as I said, 440 before Christ by Herodot. And what they did is that, as I just said, in ancient Greece, they was completely normal to write stuff on wax tablets and erase it afterwards again. To make it reusable. So what this secret thing was, what the people did not expect is that under the wax surface you can see there is of course a wooden frame or wooden bottom which holds the wax, and there you could write the secret message onto it and just put the wax itself on top of it again, and just write something very irrelevant onto the wax tablet itself. So no one will draw attention to what is written there, because maybe just some notes of someone from school, or like you maybe doing a great taking notes from this lesson, and so yeah, no one would actually draw any attention. Like, the message itself is just fine. But on this way, King Leonidas was alarmed for an upcoming attack of the Persians. So this method actually had a strong impact to a war and the outcome of the war. The next example, or the next technique I would call it, is, as I already said, invisible ink. I think you maybe know this already from your childhood, like invisible ink pencils. I'm not sure about you, but in Germany this was something for sure, which was for the cool kids, like having the invisible ink pencil, writing something, and usually was using UV light to make it visible again. But let's stick to the historic examples first, maybe. So we have the Roman Empire, which used invisible ink quite early, and it was a known method to for example, the Roman writer Plinius the Elder. And what he did was he wrote a message on a paper by using lemon juice. A very simple trick to do. So he just needed a lemon and squeeze it and use the juice to write on just a paper. And in order, so when you write it, it will just disappear after a few seconds, and the recipient will have to hold the document just above a candle or any kind of flame to heat it up. And by heating it up, without burning it for sure, the writing becomes visible again. The second example I have is from World War II, where the same principle was used by German spies. Just for your information, I used the spy icon on the top because I didn't want to have a Nazi logo in here. So yeah, that's why there's a spy on top and not a logo of the empire itself. just as the Roman Empire. Okay, back to the topic. The message of the German spies was put on a glove by using copper sulfate solution. And in order to make it visible again, this kind of glove, or wherever it was written in World War II, was mainly on gloves. You had to have ammonia vapor to make it visible again and readable again. So copper sulfate to make it invisible, and ammonia vapor to make it visible again. Okay, moving from physical techniques to technical techniques. As I said, those are also somewhat physical. However, it requires technical equipment to do so. So a microdot is one example for technical techniques. This is pretty much a message or a picture compressed to the size of a single dot. This dot may only have a diameter of just 1 millimeter, and I'm not gonna translate it to I don't know, point something inch. 1 millimeter is small. And in a text message, like a written letter, a microdot could simply be the dot of the letters I or J, so for the small I and small j. And a microdot camera would be required to actually see the content inside this dot. And for example, the image on the bottom shows a microdot camera, and in order to see what we have in this nice dot of the little eye, we use the camera and see, okay, this is pretty much what is written in this small little dot, which does not appear to be suspicious to human eye at all. It just blends in perfectly into the entire message or the letter, if it's a letter. Okay, for the digital techniques, which is the third and last category in terms of steganography, we have media. Media is just a big word for anything pretty much digital, which is like pictures, soundtracks, or text files. And those files may not only include like hidden text, so like a secret message or so, but it could also include malicious code as an attack vector by cybercriminals. So instead of just hiding the message of, I don't know, Google is great, you just take the required code to load malicious code from a command and control server. So steganography media does not automatically become like a malware itself, but yeah, it can carry the information on how to, or from where to load some of the malicious code from, as I just said, a command and control server, which is C2 in this abbreviation here. And in the recent years, memes actually were a big target for such attacks. Or not really a target, but they were used for such attacks. So targets or memes on Twitter, for example, we take the meme on the right-hand side. This one could include malicious information. So what was the thing? A malware hid its instructions within a meme on Twitter. So pretty much once the malware was loaded to a computer, for example, by phishing or other ways of getting to an affected computer, it reached out to the meme, because in the code of the malware, the URL to the meme was embedded, and there it received pretty much the next instructions to do maybe load some other malware, or take action of one of the following, for example, taking screenshots of the desktop, gathering information about running processes, copy data from the clipboard, or just get some file names from specific folders. So you can pretty much imagine every single instruction you could run, for example, on a Windows machine. This could be just there. So it could be just a PowerShell script in this meme. So this is why it's so powerful. Okay, let's have a short summary. So steganography is actually a very old technique to send sensitive information on an unsecure path from a sender to a recipient. In modern world, unsecure path means the internet, but back then in the Roman Empire or in the Greek Empire, every path through like a war zone might be an unsecure path where you cannot control who is going to read this message, because the person running the message from A to B might be get kidnapped, might be stopped by someone, and maybe needs to show what the message is being about. So yeah, this is pretty much what an unsecure path means. And as I said, in modern world, it's just the internet. And in contrast to cryptography, though, it tries to hide the existence of an information at all. And while cryptography tries to make the information look like gibberish. So instead of a clear text message, there's just like random letters and numbers readable to eavesdropper, for example, or someone, or a man in the middle, but he cannot read the clear text. So this concept has many possibilities available. So we talked about the secret ink, or just switching bits and bytes inside a picture, for example, which I showed you on the basic slide. And it could be just about leaving a message, or it could be about reaching out to a command control server to get instructions for malware, for example. So it is not just used by, let's say, neutral guys or good guys who try to send sensitive data, but also by the guys who actually try to harm others. And personally, I would recommend not using steganography to send sensitive data in a modern environment, in a modern world, as the modern there's a lot of modern in here, as modern techniques make it way more easy to actually find those kind of secret information or secret data insights somewhere. So because it's written there in clear text, as soon as someone finds it, you are pretty much not secure anymore, and you're just caught. So yeah, rather use cryptography if you want to send sensitive data than steganography. But if you want to have some fun, steganography for sure is also a good method to send, like, let's say, semi-sensitive data, which everyone wants to see, but you also do not care too much if someone reads it. Yeah, that's pretty much my take on this one. Yeah, thank you again for today's session. Just as last week, maybe give me some comments and feedback on how you like the more freestyle way of approaching these lessons, with having me maybe talk a little bit slower or very streamlined, and yeah, maybe just sometimes using the wrong words, the wrong pronunciation. But yeah, I think it feels like it is more relaxed and more classroom-like. Yeah, just let me know. Stay safe, and leave a comment, subscribe if you like the channel and the content, and yeah, stay safe. Cheers.